When we left off, we were saying, wait, Mr. Reeves, we gotta make some kind of deal first. What kind of deal? Asked Portico. If I let you cut my hair, you have to clean up all the hair on this floor, said Mr. Reeves. The thing is, there was hair everywhere, but Portico really wanted to cut his father's hair, because if he did, he was one step closer to cutting the super's hair. Deal? Deal. How to cut your father's hair. 1. Terribly. But everyone's got to start somewhere. From hair to there. After Portico swept up all the hair, he headed back upstairs to see if maybe his father's haircut had calmed down some. I don't know if haircuts can calm down, but he was hoping so, because his dad's hair looked like it got some bad news, which matched Portico's face, because you guessed it. His parents were arguing. By the way, arguing is long for R. This time, it wasn't over a table, or a picture frame, or a chair, or even a haircut, which would have made sense. This time, it was over a plate. Not a dinner plate or a tectonic plate, the weird things underground that cause earthquakes, though this was clearly causing an earthquake, but a plate that Portico made when he was in kindergarten. An art project plate. See, when Portico was in kindergarten, he had this teacher, Mrs. Griffith, who had all the kids draw pictures on plates as gifts to their parents. So, on his plate, he drew a family portrait. It looked like they were all smiling, but like it was one smile stretched across all their faces, a unismile. On the bottom of the plate were the letters MLKJD, which stood for Martin Luther King Jr. Day, which is what this plate was a gift for. People usually don't give gifts for that holiday, but Mrs. Griffith thought it would be a great idea. So did Portico. Mr. and Mrs. Reeves hung it on the wall, and the only plate, beside Grand's fancy plates from China, no one could ever eat on. They loved it so much that now they were fighting over it. I'm his mother, Mrs. Reeves said. What does that mean? Only you deserve the gifts he made for both of us? No, I'm saying I'd love to have it. Well, I'd love to have it too. I mean, look at me. I'm the biggest person in the picture. Because you're the biggest person in the house, Mrs. Reeves said. You also have the biggest mouth. Oh, yeah? Yeah. Portico stood there, watching his parents throw insults back and forth, standing in front of the messy monster piles, which seemed to also be arguing with each other. Finally, Portico cleared his throat to get their attention. Oh, Portico, didn't you see there? You never do, he grumbled. I'm sorry, his mother said. We both are. What y'all fighting about now? It's nothing, his mother said, even though Portico was looking at the plate in both their hands. Listen, we just need to sort this out. In the meantime, maybe see if Zola is still skating, said his father. She's not. Well, go check again, his mother snapped. Where's the super when you need him? When Portico got to Zola's, he was surprised she wasn't watching Super Space Warriors like usual. Instead, she was knocking on the windows and tapping on the walls and doing all kinds of weird stuff. Z, what are you doing? Checking for wrong stuff? Wrong stuff? Yeah, like checking to see if the walls are too thin or maybe if the glass in the windows is cracked. She kicked the radiator a few times, then went to the bathroom just to flush the toilet over and over again. Zola, instead of flushing the toilet 100 times, why don't you go test the kitchen sink? And while you're there, see if the water still washes dishes. Zola's father joked from the bedroom. But why? Portico asked. Because that's the only way we can get the super to come visit. This was a genius idea. The truth is, no one ever saw the super. You had to call him, but first you had to have a reason to call him. Wrong stuff. And what you gonna do when he gets here? What do you mean? I'm going to ask him to teach me how to be a super. Zola turned the sink faucet on. She squeezed in way too much soap and started scrubbing the dishes. I wonder if he has some kind of special powers to get my parents to stop fighting over the stuff in our house. Oh no, not again. Zola handed Portico a plate to dry. Is that why you're here? The meantime? Yeah. I thought it was because you were going to help me find a reason to call the super, Zola said, handing Portico another plate. Well, that too. What's the fight about this time? Portico didn't say. He just held the plate up. What? A plate? Portico explained about the plate. I want to tell them to just give it to Gran, but Gran is Dad's mom, and so it'll be like giving it to Dad, and my mom will be mad. But I can't say give it to a new name every day, because technically, that's my mom's cat, which means technically she'll have it. So I don't know what to do. Zola thought, handing Portico a glass. This is just like episode 17 of Super Space Warriors, when Mater and Pater find out that their mother, before she died, left them a piece of the sun. She locked it in a special box and hid it underground. Have you seen that episode? I don't think so, Portico said. It was a good one. Basically, she left them one of the most powerful things a sun protector could have, and Mater and Pater had decided to work together to find it. And they did. And when they finally opened it up, it was so beautiful that they both reached for it at the same time. Oh boy. The fight wasn't a long one because the pieces of the sun slipped out of both their hands. And do you know what would happen if a piece of the sun touched the earth? Portico's beaner cleaners took a place of his think blob, made his brain feel like it was shrinking. You mean an explosion of great magnitude? Zola shook her head, squirted in more soap. I swear, I would be so much more careful if I were a sun protector, you know? But before Zola could hand Portico the next dish, he was gone. Portico torpedoed into his apartment. His parents were still going back and forth about the plate, and instead of trying to stop them, he did his famous Portico punch. Well, it's not really that famous because he almost never does it. Actually, he's never done it. Ever. Not even one time before this moment, which is why he had no idea his punch was a kick, and even less of a clue his leg would go up as high as it did, which is pretty impressive, but also that it would kick the plate out of his parents' hands. It crushed onto the floor and shattered into a bunch of pieces, and as Stuntboy lost his balance, he crashed onto the floor too, landing right in front of the chunk of plate that had him on it, smiling. Portico punch. Crash. Episode 5. Who Rocks the Block? Roll the credits. Cue the music. I need everyone. Big band. Let's make sure we have horns, saxophones, trumpets, trombones, and flutes, even though I don't think flutes are horns. Bring them anyway. And drums. Lots of drums. The ones that go boom, da-da-boom. And the ones that go bang, bang, bang. And the cymbals that sound like we're throwing rocks through windows. That's what we're going to need for this episode. And do we have anyone who plays piano? Yeah. Bring them in. And a guitar too. Oh, and get some kids from outside and bring them in here to make fart noises or something. Hey, an instrument is an instrument. Got it? Good. Let's sing the song. And 1, and 2, and Welcome to Stuntboy in the meantime. Definition of a block party. On the 189th day of Portico Reeves and Zola Bronner's best friendship, the castle, well, not the castle itself, but the grown-ups who live in the castle, threw a block party. Block parties happen every summer around here, but this was the first of the season. Differences between a block party and a birthday party. 1. Oldies. They're everywhere at block parties, playing cards, dancing weird like ancient children. Number 2. Instead of decorating with 20 balloons, decorate with big orange cones. Line them up at both ends of the block to keep cars from ruining the fun. But keep balloons handy. You'll see why. Number 3. Barbecue grills for food. I mean, you don't eat the grill, but you do eat the burnt hot dogs and sweaty hamburgers the grill makes. Number 4. Big trash cans. One for trash, one for drinks. Number 5. And the DJ has big outside speakers, the kind that drown out sirens and bus brakes. That pretty much makes block parties a jam for the concrete kingdom. The other thing about a block party is 2 very important people have to show up on time. The first is Scritch, Mr. Cho Scratch. Mr. Cho has been living around here for as long as around here has been. Some people say he is the skylight of Skylight Gardens. He claims his grandfather built the castle, but don't nobody believe that. What we all believe is him saying he started DJing a long time ago, back when hip-hop was just a baby crawling around from neighborhood to neighborhood, city to city. It was all about the DJ. The rapper was second place to the person making the people move their feet. Don't nobody care what you got to say if you don't make the move, he say. Mr. Cho would tell stories about spinning and scratching records, turning songs into sound effects, but none of it really mattered to the kids of this castle. What they cared about was the music. Just the music. Mr. Cho did all the parties for anyone who lived here, including Zola's birthday party, but we won't talk about that because I'm sure you remember what happened.